Coach, home and away season now over, and we've got the spot that we wanted. We're in the top four, whether it be third or fourth, depends on what happens later on this afternoon with the Murray Bush Rangers, but crux of the matter is we've got the double chance, which is what we wanted.
Yeah, and we've been eyeing that for a while, Sean, haven't we? Probably, when you think about it, we were Norton 3. I think we won 6 in a row. I think we might have won maybe 12 out of our last 14 games. And it's probably I think we've won maybe the last 6. So probably at some stage during those last 6 games, we've begun to think top 4 chance was there to get it last week, but then realised we had a fragile hold on it. And today was a big test for us to be able to play against really committed opposition who have been in good form, and the win as a result meant that we stayed in the top 4.
Definitely a finals-like game today against a team that obviously will be contesting finals in the Eastern Rangers that look different to the last time we played them. Had a lot of players back in that were very, very good players, very high quality. And the boys answered the test, I think. I think they answered the challenge.
Yeah, I'd like to think that. Yeah, it's early days at the moment, but I thought there was some good signs. I thought our ability to restrict the opposition marking the ball meant that we defended pretty well. I think there wasn't much difference between inside 50s for us or them. So it then was a matter of being efficient when we went inside forward 50. Probably some obvious issues. There's only 10 goals from 300 touches. That's not good enough, but then there's a lot of shots at goal. So windy day, difficult conditions. But I think early on in the analysis there are some really good signs there.
I suppose one not so much area for panic, but a little red flag, the starts to the game, especially over the last couple of weeks. Opposition teams have got an early jump on us, and we've recovered by quarter time to be back in the game, not in a winning position. I suppose going into a final where early running can make such a difference, that's, I suppose, something that could be a little bit of a concern.
Yeah, and it's quite a complex issue, the starts to the game, because obviously the opposition's got a say in that as well, both offensively and defensively. I thought the opposition were very good early. I think it's a matter of just probably making sure that we're doing all that we need to do, the players and the staff, to make sure that we're prepared to start well, because everyone wants to start well. It's not that's the obvious. So I think we'll just look at it again and say, okay, what are we doing? Make sure that we continue to get better, and that's the challenge that I say to my staff and my players. That footy is just an ongoing journey. You've never ever actually got to a degree of excellence. You keep trying to chase it, and there's, as you rightly said, there's an area in our game that we need to get better at.
I suppose looking at that though, an area that we have gotten better at, and something that did haunt us a little bit before we started this winning streak again, was the ability to, or non-ability in that case, to close out games. Today, the Rangers got to within 10 points reasonably late in the last quarter, and we were able to then withstand, control the ball, hit the scoreboard ourselves and really lock the game down.
Yeah, I agree with that, because when we go into slow tempo footy, control the ball footy, one thing I've said to the boys when we introduce that, it doesn't mean we don't score. It doesn't mean that that's taken away from us. So we've actually been able to score on a few occasions when we've gone into tempo footy, and that's a good sign for a group. So A, they've got a knowledge of what our version of lockdown is, but B, they're also showing a capacity to still be able to kick a goal. And as you rightly said, those 1 or 2 goals that we got whilst we were in that control the game phase was very important.
A week off now, leading into a final series. How do you view a week off at this time of the year, going into a final series when sometimes momentum can play a bit of a difference? Although, having said that, answering my own question a little bit by saying TAC Cup does have a lot of development rounds. We've just come off 3 games in 5 weeks or something like that. So
no, I think you've just got to analyse what your best side looks like, how you're going with injuries. I think it gives will certainly give us a good chance to just stop, reflect. Okay, what's round 1 of the finals team look like? Can we get what we want? If we can't, what's next best? Thursday night, for example, will be a fantastic night to have some pretty almost, not quite match practice, but strong game simulation training, knowing that if you overdo it a bit on Thursday night, that's okay, because the boys are going to have a rest. So there'll be some boys who will be instructed to play, to get more game time, to improve or develop their preparation. There'll be obviously some who will enjoy the week off. So we'll manage them according to an individual needs basis, Sean. But Thursday night I can already see a really strong game simulation type session where we will film it. There's not as much pressure on the time commitments there. We can then take the boys through a post-game debrief about, well, okay, how we're going at stoppages, etc. I think that we'll come up with a good plan and then hit the finals in running, knowing that our preparation's been good and we've had a bit of a spell.
And I suppose the advantage of the win today and getting that top 4 spot and the subsequent double chance is that if for some reason preparation isn't out in the first week of the finals and things don't go our way, it's not the end of the world. Whereas a loss today and having fallen into a 5th spot or something like that meant that everything's on the line straight away. So it's hard to say that pressure's off in a finals series, but there is that little bit of a pressure release knowing that if things do go wrong, there is another chance.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and also we've lost. If we'd lost today, it means, well, the next time we play, we're coming off a loss. So you haven't got that natural momentum and confidence that you have from winning. But I think the other thing is we've only got to reflect on the recent performance in the AFL. We all saw Hawthorn last year go over to play in round 1 of the finals, soundly beaten, and a lot of people thought, oh, that end of that era, well, we got that totally wrong. They regrouped from that loss and then got so much better as a result of a setback. So, yeah, I just think that the history will tell us that the best way into a final series is the way that we're going in, and that's with a double chance.
It's an exciting time coming up now. Home and away season finished. We now turn our attention to the business end of the season. Coach, very best of luck over the next couple of weeks, and we look forward next time we're speaking on Fair Duty Coach's Corner to hopefully talking about a preliminary final coming up.
That'd be magnificent, Sean. Good on you.
Thanks, Coach.